Gentlemen, the way you speak to women reveals more than just your words. It reveals your self-worth, confidence, emotional intelligence, and boundaries. A high-value man doesn't talk to impress. He speaks with intention. And when he does, women notice, respect, and admire him. A high-value man communicates with calm confidence because he understands that true strength doesn't need to be loud or overly animated. When he speaks, there's no rush in his tone, no desperation in his delivery, and certainly no attempt to force validation from the person he's talking to. His voice is steady, composed, and deliberate, not because he's trying to appear dominant, but because he genuinely feels grounded in who he is. He doesn't try to fill silences with nervous chatter or jump in to prove himself. Instead, he's comfortable with pauses, with eye contact, and with letting a moment breathe. Most men, especially when trying to impress a woman, fall into the trap of over-talking. They speak too quickly, over-explain themselves, or exaggerate stories to seem more interesting. But a high-value man knows that less is often more. He doesn't say things to win approval or to avoid rejection, because rejection doesn't threaten his identity. He's not attached to the outcome of a conversation. That's what makes his presence magnetic. Women can sense when a man is emotionally stable and self-assured, and they instinctively feel more relaxed and drawn toward that energy. This calm confidence also reflects in his body language. He stands tall but relaxed, maintains natural eye contact, and gestures with ease, not to dominate, but to express. He's not trying to perform. He's simply existing as his authentic self, and when he speaks, each word carries weight, not because he forces it, but because it's backed by certainty and self-respect. That's what makes women listen more intently, feel safer in his presence, and become more intrigued by his energy. He creates an emotional contrast in a world full of men who are anxious, reactive, or approval hungry. Calm confidence is rare, and in the eyes of a woman, it's incredibly attractive. A high-value man knows that asking questions is not just about passing time or ticking off a checklist. It's about genuinely connecting and understanding the other person on a deeper level. Instead of sticking to typical, surface-level questions like "What do you do?" or "Where are you from?" questions that almost everyone hears and often answers on autopilot, he chooses questions that invite real thought and emotion. These questions are designed to spark curiosity and reveal something unique about her perspective, desires, or passions. For example, he might ask, "What's something you've always wanted to try but haven't yet?" Or "What's the most meaningful experience you've had recently?" These kinds of questions invite vulnerability and authenticity, which naturally fosters a stronger connection. When a high-value man asks intentional questions, it also shows that he is genuinely interested and curious about who she really is beyond the surface. This creates an atmosphere where she feels safe to open up, because she senses that he's not just looking for small talk or rehearsed answers. He wants to understand her story, her dreams, and what makes her unique. His questions are open-ended and thought-provoking, encouraging her to think deeply and share honestly, which is a refreshing change from shallow conversations. Moreover, these questions also set the tone for a more meaningful dialogue rather than a one-sided interrogation. He doesn't bombard her with rapid-fire questions, but rather listens and responds thoughtfully, allowing the conversation to flow naturally. He knows that genuine connection requires patience and presence, so he's comfortable with moments of silence or reflection. By focusing on quality over quantity, he distinguishes himself from men who rely on generic pickup lines or rehearsed scripts. This approach not only makes the woman feel valued and heard, but it also allows the high you man to gauge compatibility and alignment on a deeper level early on. He's not wasting time on superficial chatter. Instead, he's creating an experience where both can explore each other's minds and hearts. This level of conversation builds intrigue and attraction because it taps into emotional depth and intellectual engagement, which are far more memorable and impactful than small talk. Listening is one of the most overlooked yet powerful skills a high you man masters when talking to women. It's not just about hearing words or waiting for your turn to speak. It's about truly being present in the moment and giving genuine attention to what she is sharing. Many men listen with the intent to respond or correct, but a hive you man listens with the intent to understand. This means tuning into not only her words, but also her tone, body language, and emotional undercurrents. When a woman feels truly listened to, it creates a sense of validation and connection that goes far beyond superficial conversation. Active listening requires a shift from self-focus to other-focus. Instead of thinking about what he's going to say next or how to impress, he centers his attention fully on her. This might involve nodding subtly, making eye contact that feels natural and warm, and occasionally paraphrasing or reflecting back what she's said to show he's processing and valuing her thoughts. For example, if she talks about a challenge she's facing, you man might say, "It sounds like that was really tough for you," rather than immediately jumping in with advice or stories about himself. This kind of empathetic listening signals emotional intelligence and maturity, qualities that women find deeply attractive. Moreover, by listening more than he speaks, the you man avoids dominating the conversation, which can be a major turnoff. When men dominate discussions, it can come across as self-centered or insecure, trying too hard to prove themselves. But by giving her the floor, he creates a safe emotional space where she can open up without fear of judgment or interruption. This dynamic fosters trust and encourages vulnerability, which are crucial for building genuine intimacy. Women are naturally drawn to men who can hold space for them emotionally because it shows respect and a willingness to connect on a deeper level. Listening also allows the you man to pick up on subtle cues and nuances, things that aren't explicitly stated but reveal important information about her values, desires, and boundaries. He notices what excites her, what frustrates her, and what she avoids discussing. These insights give him the ability to respond thoughtfully and adapt his approach in real time, making the interaction feel more personalized and meaningful. It's this level of attention that differentiates a shallow interaction from a memorable experience. In addition, active listening demonstrates confidence. When a man feels secure in himself, he doesn't need to fill every silence or rush to impress. Instead, he understands that listening is a form of strength. It shows humility and openness. This balanced dynamic of speaking and listening creates a rhythm in the conversation that feels natural and effortless, which women find very appealing. The conversation becomes less about impressing or performing and more about genuine exchange and connection. Finally, through listening, the you man not only gains a deeper understanding of the woman, but also models the kind of respect and care he expects in return. When she sees how much he values her words and feelings, she feels more comfortable expressing herself fully. This creates a positive feedback loop where the emotional bond deepens, attraction grows, and the connection moves beyond the surface into something authentic and lasting. A high-value man is clear and unapologetic about his standards because he knows that boundaries are essential to maintaining self-respect and attracting the right kind of people into his life. He doesn't shy away from expressing what he values or what he will and won't tolerate, not out of arrogance or control, but from a place of deep self-awareness and integrity. This clarity sends a powerful message. He respects himself enough to expect respect from others. When a man communicates his standards confidently and calmly, it immediately sets him apart from those who are vague, inconsistent, or overly accommodating in their interactions. Many men make the mistake of either not stating their standards at all, or doing so in a way that feels defensive or demanding. They might say things like, "You have to do this," or "If you don't, I'm out," which can come off as controlling or insecure. In contrast, a high-value man presents his standards as natural extensions of who he is rather than ultimatums. For example, he might say, "I believe honesty is crucial in any relationship," or "I value consistency because it shows respect for both people's time." He states these values matter, factly, inviting alignment rather than forcing compliance. This approach creates respect because it's honest and authentic, not manipulative. By speaking his standards without apology, the high-value man also protects his emotional energy and time. He understands that compromising on key values often leads to frustration, resentment, and wasted effort. When he clearly communicates what he expects early on, he filters out people who don't align with his values, creating space for healthier, more fulfilling connections. This not only saves time, but also raises the overall quality of his relationships. Women notice when a man has boundaries because it signals emotional maturity and stability, qualities that are deeply attractive. Additionally, when a man communicates his standards, it helps to create a sense of safety for the woman. She knows where he stands, what he believes in, and what she can expect from him. This transparency fosters trust because it reduces uncertainty and guesswork. Women instinctively appreciate a man who isn't wishy-washy or unpredictable, but instead operates with a clear moral compass. It shows that he's capable of leadership, not in a domineering way, but as someone who can guide the relationship with integrity and respect. Speaking standards also demonstrates that a man is secure enough not to seek approval at all costs. He isn't afraid of losing someone who doesn't meet his expectations, because he understands that true connection comes from mutual respect and shared values, not from bending over backward to please or accommodate. This security is magnetic because it creates emotional contrast. He's not desperate, needy, or overly eager, which can often push people away. Instead, his groundedness invites admiration and genuine interest. Finally, a high-value man understands that communicating standards is not about rigidity, but about clarity and consistency. He can hold firm to his core values while remaining open, compassionate, and adaptable in non-essential areas. This balance is key because it shows strength without inflexibility, confidence without arrogance. Women are drawn to men who know what they want and are not afraid to express it, yet still respect individuality and space for growth. This kind of communication lays a strong foundation for a healthy, balanced relationship built on mutual respect and understanding. A high value man understands that humor is a powerful tool in building attraction and creating a connection, but he uses it with intention and control rather than recklessness or desperation. Humor isn't about being the class clown or constantly trying to make someone laugh at any cost. It's about using wit and playfulness in a way that feels natural and enhances the interaction. He knows that well-timed humor can lighten the mood, reduce tension, and make conversations more enjoyable, which helps women feel comfortable and engaged. But the key is that his humor is balance. It complements his confidence without undermining it. Instead of telling jokes that are over the top or trying too hard to be funny, a high value man uses subtle humor that fits the moment and the dynamic he's building. This might be a clever observation, a playful tease, or a dry, understated comment delivered with just the right tone and expression. For example, he might lightly tease a woman about a quirky habit she mentions, not to embarrass her, but to create a shared moment of laughter and intimacy. This kind of humor is inclusive and builds rapport because it signals that he's paying attention and is comfortable enough to be a bit vulnerable. Moreover, the high value man is careful with the kind of humor he uses. He avoids humor that is offensive, mean-spirited, or self-deprecating to a fault. He knows that humor should uplift the interaction, not bring anyone down or create discomfort. His jokes or teasing are never aimed to belittle or embarrass. Instead, they are playful nudges that invite her to join in the fun. This creates a dynamic of light-hearted challenge and connection, which naturally fuels attraction. This controlled use of humor also demonstrates emotional intelligence. He reads the room and gauges how his humor is received, adjusting accordingly. If she's responding with smiles and laughter, he might continue, but if she seems uncomfortable or uninterested, he shifts gears without missing a beat. This sensitivity to her reactions shows respect and attentiveness, qualities that make a woman feel seen and valued rather than manipulated. Humor also creates emotional contrast, which is a key driver of attraction. When a man can be playful and relaxed in his interactions, it contrasts with the often serious or stressful energy that people experience daily. This contrast makes the interaction memorable and enjoyable, making her associate him with positive feelings. The playful energy breaks down walls and creates a space where both can be more authentic and spontaneous. Additionally, humor can serve as a subtle test of compatibility and boundaries. Through playful teasing, a high value man can gauge how comfortable she is with him and how she handles light challenges. Her response can reveal a lot about her personality, confidence, and sense of humor, which helps him understand whether there's a deeper connection to build. This back and forth banter also builds sexual tension in a fun, engaging way without being overt or aggressive. Ultimately, humor is one of the many ways a high value man expresses his charisma and charm. It's not about trying to impress or win approval, but about sharing a genuine part of himself while inviting her to do the same. This shared laughter creates a bond that goes beyond words, making the interaction feel effortless and magnetic. It's a dance of connection that leaves her wanting more, curious to see what playful moment he might bring next. A high value man understands the power of timing and control when it comes to ending conversations, recognizing that how he leaves a woman wanting more is just as important as how he engages her in the first place. He never overstays his welcome or drags out an interaction just for the sake of prolonging it, because he knows that leaving a conversation at the right moment creates anticipation and intrigue. This approach shows emotional intelligence and respect, not only for himself, but also for her time and energy. When he chooses to exit a conversation smoothly and confidently, it signals that he has a full, meaningful life beyond that moment, which is incredibly attractive. Instead of lingering awkwardly or trying to squeeze out every last second of interaction, a high-value man pays close attention to the natural flow and energy of the exchange. He can sense when the conversation has reached a satisfying pause, or when it's time to create some space. Rather than forcing a goodbye or appearing uncertain, he exits with grace, using a few well-chosen words that leave a positive impression and open the door for future connection. Phrases like "this was great," "I'd love to continue this another time," or "I have to run, but let's definitely catch up soon," come from a place of genuine interest combined with clear boundaries. This kind of ending is powerful because it creates scarcity. When a man steps away confidently, he doesn't come off as desperate or overly eager, which can often repel interest. Instead, he becomes more desirable precisely because he values himself and his time. Women pick up on this energy subconsciously and find it compelling. He's not chasing validation or clinging to attention. He's engaging on his own terms. This subtle shift in power dynamics makes the interaction more balanced and intriguing. Additionally, by ending conversations on his terms, the high-value man avoids common pitfalls like over-explaining, apologizing unnecessarily, or lingering in uncertainty. He doesn't second-guess his decision to leave or try to extend the moment artificially. This decisiveness is attractive because it reflects clarity of mind and emotional stability. It tells the woman that he knows what he wants and isn't afraid to act on it, which builds trust and respect. This approach also helps maintain mystery and excitement in the interaction. When a conversation ends while both parties are still engaged and wanting more, it plants a seed of anticipation. She's left curious about what else he might say or share next time, and this curiosity fuels attraction. It's much more effective than dragging a conversation until it fizzles out or becomes dull, which can kill momentum and interest. Furthermore, by exiting conversations gracefully, the high-value man models healthy boundaries and self-control. He shows that he can enjoy interaction without becoming dependent on constant engagement for his sense of worth. This balance between connection and independence is crucial because it prevents neediness and fosters mutual respect. Women are drawn to men who can hold their own space while still being warm and engaging, and how a man ends a conversation speaks volumes about his ability to do this. In sum, ending conversations on his terms is a strategic and elegant move that enhances a high-value man's overall presence. It ensures that interactions remain positive and memorable, setting the stage for future encounters that build on that initial spark. It's a subtle but powerful way to deepen attraction and establish himself as someone who leads with confidence, respect, and emotional intelligence. By mastering the art of how he talks to women, with calm confidence, genuine curiosity, attentive listening, clear standards, thoughtful humor, and graceful exits, a high-value man naturally draws women toward him. These qualities create a foundation of respect, trust, and intrigue that goes far beyond surface-level attraction. When a man embodies these traits consistently, he not only captivates women, but also builds meaningful connections rooted in authenticity and mutual appreciation. This is how high value men speak, and why women truly love being around them.